mic test. Is the mic on? Let there be light. So guys, I want you to imagine for a second, you want to buy a gift for this very special person, and you go into the store, you go to the gift section, and then you find this amazing gift that you want to buy. Then you go to the gift wrap aisle and then find the perfect wrapping paper for that gift. So you pay for that gift, and then you walk into your car, you drive home to go and wrap this gift. You spend so much time making sure this gift is wrapped perfectly. In fact, you buy that, you use one of those very, very fancy bows on this present or on this gift. And then you're excited about giving this person the gift. So you go to this person's house, or you see this person or whatever, and then you give this person this gift. And then they open this gift, and you're looking with excitement at how they're going to react to this gift. And then they open the gift. They are disappointed. That's how it is with some of your plants, and I'll tell you why in a moment. Just like the analogy of this very disappointed or confused person, if our plants could express themselves, they'll probably be very disappointed at some of us who prioritize one thing: light. I'll give it to you this way. Plants eat light. Like the way you eat your burgers or your salads or whatever you eat, plants eat light. It's a process called photosynthesis. They eat light. So prioritize feeding them with light, the right type of light, before you prioritize on water. It's very interesting how people prioritize watering their plants over light. In fact, there are three major causes of your plant's death. All the plants I've killed and the plants you probably have killed, there are three major causes of this death. Number one is not giving them adequate light because they need to feed. Second thing is when you overwater your plants, usually that causes something called root rot, and that's when you continually give your plants, water your plants, and the root starts to rot. And in situations like that, your plant is not coming back alive. It's going to die. The third reason is when you don't water your plants, and I will talk about that in another video. So there are 4 categories of lighting that every plant needs to survive. They are the bright direct sunlight, the bright indirect sunlight, medium light, and low lighting. Anytime you go to buy a plant, you probably see on the label these four categories. Plants that do really well with bright direct light would be plants like your succulents, your cactuses. Those in that range would do really well in bright direct light. Your trees, all the trees you see outside under the sun, are generally bright direct lights. They require bright direct lights. Now, for plants that do well in bright indirect light, you have your Monstera deliciosa, which can actually adapt to different lighting conditions. You have your Majesty palm. You have your Ficus lyrata, which is your fiddle fig tree. You have your Ficus elastica, which is your rubber tree plant, and the rest of those. You have plants that do well in medium light will be your prayer plants, like your calatheas, your marantas, and a wide range of those plants we call indoor plants. However, plants that do really well, or that can cope rather with low lights, will be your sansevieras, that's your snake plant, and your Chinese evergreen. So when talking about lighting, it's important right now for you to consider the direction of the sun to your window. That's so important. That determines the quality of your medium light, your high light, or your low light. So at this point, it's better for you to get a compass, or you can even use Google Map, zoom into your house, and then check what direction your windows are facing. That's gonna really guide you. And that's so important because, first of all, north-facing windows have very little light. So your taller plants will not survive in north-facing windows. Plants that need bright light would generally not survive. The only plants that would do well with north-facing windows are your low-light plants. That's a huge rule of thumb. So south-facing windows are best for bright light, you know, and that's where now you have your ficus lyrata would do so well with south-facing windows. Also with west-facing windows, your bright and medium light plants would do well with west-facing windows. East-facing windows are good for low to medium light plants also. One thing I need to stress out is variegated plants and plants that have colored leaves are going to require more sunlight than their counterparts who are non-variegated or are regular green. So you have to put that in mind. So for instance, I have an aglaonema, the Chinese evergreen, that's green, and it does really well in my kitchen where I only have like an LED light. And then I have an aglaonema, the tricolor aglaonema, which would probably die even though they look the same way. Talking about artificial light, I'm going to create a different YouTube video to talk about artificial light, because lighting from the sun is different from your LED lights. That's because plants need a particular electromagnetic wave. That's part of what they eat. You know, most indoor lights will not do anything for any plant except you're going to buy a grow light. I'll do an entire video on grow lights. I have I have about four or five grow lights in my apartment. So one thing that has helped me in understanding lighting within my apartment is getting a light meter. Now, I have a love and hate relationship with light meters. In fact, I have one right here. So this kind of measures how the intensity of light around my plants, and I'll talk about this in another video, but this adds another layer of complexity. The most important thing for you to understand is, one, the kind of intensity of light coming from your windows. If you don't have any windows, I would say you shouldn't bother with having houseplants at all. Like I said, plants eat light. That's the number one thing. So to wrap this video up, there are three things I have to scream out once again. Plants eat light. That's number one. Number two, before you buy any plant, consider your living space. When you buy the plant, or before you buy the plant, check out the light requirements for that plant. Every plant shop will tell you the kind of lighting that's ideal for that plant. Thirdly, prioritize light over water. So guys, I have a bunch of topics I'm going to be talking about in the course of this channel. I'm going to be talking about some of the mistakes I've made, some of the unnecessary purchases, whether it's plants or equipment. I'm going to be talking about how much I've spent in the last, say, 1 year on plants. I'm also going to be talking about lessons that I've learned from propagating some of the plants that I have. I will give you a few hacks that I've learned in buying cheap pots and planters. So do me a favor and subscribe to this channel. You would be notified, or hit the notification button of course, so that you'll be notified whenever I have new content. I love to hear from you guys. If you have any feedback for me, let me know. If you have any questions, or if you want me to do any video on plants, or if you have any questions for me, you guys can let me know. If I have answers to them, I'll probably do a video. Thank you so much, and see you next week, I guess. Google, let there be light. Turn off accent lights. Know how to, then if I know about these things, then I would one more time. So you've gotten you're at a store. No, so you're at a store. as a rule of thumb, most I just started again. Cuts.